Hi, I'm Chris and I wanted to talk again about my Supernote A5X. One of the reasons I want to do a couple more videos is because I forgot to mention so much in my first video. In particular, I forgot to talk about title sections, which for some, maybe even many, is the thing that separates the Supernote A5X from the competition, and definitely from just using and collating paper notes. So I wanted to talk about those title sections. I wanted to talk about creating your own templates and uses for those. I wanted to talk about creating your own screensavers and using a to-do list, at least how I use the to-do list, which might be helpful for some. In the second video, I wanted to look at the mailbox and give you an example of how it works, because I think it actually works really smoothly when I compare it with my Onyx Books Max Lumi. I wanted to show you how well the written text is converted into typed words in the Word option, and I wanted to show you how the Bluetooth keyboard pairs with the device to see what kind of lagging is involved. And I was also just going to compare the device with other devices like the Kindle, Oasis, an iPad, and other devices, just to give you a sense of just how big it is, how it compares. This time I'm gonna have a proper outro. So I thought I'd begin this video by just talking about my general philosophy when it comes to using lots of different devices. The comment was, you see, to the previous video that I made on the Supernote A5X, is that why are you using this and an iPad and other devices? I'd much rather have one. And I understand that. It depends on your needs. But this is the reason why I have a mini iPad, I have an iPad Pro, an old one admittedly, I have a Kindle, and I have Max Lumi and the Supernote. Why do I have so many? Well, I hail from the UK, and space is premium here. Space costs a lot of money, and this room is really a broom cupboard, frankly, and I just don't have space for physical books anymore. I can't even get to those books that are in my office anymore because of the pandemic. I can't travel and get them, so I'm stuck with the books that I've got, and if I order in more, where do I put them? I mean, I'm not going to pan around the office, but there are books everywhere, and so I have made the decision that I need to start using PDF documents and EPUB documents, but ideally PDFs more, because they're paginated, and if I'm referring to them in an article or a book, pagination is absolutely crucial, and I just find that the Kindle location thing just doesn't look right in an academic journal. That's snobbery, probably snobbery. So I'm looking for as many windows as possible onto the digital landscape. Hence, I'm happy to have the Max Lumi, which is ideal for certain types of document. I use this mainly for reading, but the Supernote A5X is fantastic for other kinds of documents in different kinds of contexts. I just need as many windows as I can get to make use, or to maximize my use of PDFs, simply because of a lack of space. There are excellent videos out there that compare all of these different devices, so if you have a budget, you can go and Morning Coach. By the way, the outro has a little bit of a fun jab at Morning Coach. I hope you don't mind. I think you're great. It's just a joke. Voya, CPO, they will be able to help you make a decision in that regard. My advice, if you have to have one device, an iPad. An iPad is going to be better in almost every regard. But if you do have a little bit of budget left over, here are some options for you. I want as many options as I can get. Hence this, and this, and this, and others. And now in the next video I'm going to be comparing the sizes of all of these different devices to perhaps give you a better feel of what you get in terms of that window onto the digital landscape. But until then, I wanted to turn to some practical uses with the Supernote A5X. So first, just something on how I create templates. The key with making templates is to make sure that it's 1404 by 1872, 1404 by 1872. It's crucial that it's exactly that, or it won't be recognized in the system. It's as simple as that. The way I do that is I go into the free program on the PC, the Paint program, and actually I'll go to the video showing you that now. So here's just a quick video on how I generate the templates for the Supernote A5X. Let's see if I can share the right screen. Okay, so you should see here this is the standard Paint program. What I would do is get some kind of template online, and it can be a template for any device you like. So I'm just going to find now one of the documents that I've used. Okay, so I'm just going to drag one of them over here. Now this has already been formatted to the right size, but let's say I've got a daily planner thing here and I want to make some adjustments. I want to move things around. Well, you can do that by selecting parts and shifting them around in a certain way. Obviously you'd have to fill that back in, all kinds of things. I widened these. I deleted some text here about what I should be drawing. I added the water thing. With a little bit of patience, you can do that by using the writing tool up here. It just takes a little bit of patience, but the absolute key is then to see resize. That's the key here. Pixels, and then to make sure that you turn off the maintain aspect ratio. 1404, 1872, click OK. When you do that, don't highlight anything, click out of it. Otherwise it will only adjust the size of that which you've selected, not the page itself, and that's the key. So once you have selected, you haven't selected anything, you change the page size, then save it, then it's good to go. You simply put it into the My Style folder on the Supernote, and you'll find it under the appropriate tab, Custom tab, I think it is, when we're loading templates. It's as simple as that. Other devices like the Books Note, Air, the Max Lumi aren't so fussy, but this is a very fussy device. But this is also helpful because it gives you an idea of what kind of size you're working with on the computer. It helps you to adjust line spacing appropriate to this size screen. It helps you to think about the actual dimensions that you have to work with in order to make something work. So anyway, this I find particularly useful. But here's a couple of uses for the template that I think have been tremendously helpful for me. But the first relates to my writing. So my writing, as you saw from the last video, is shite, and I have been trying my best to improve it. And something I never did at school, as far as I remember, was use these templates to help you write. So I use this one for daily note making. I don't know if you can see this in the video. I may have to zoom in a bit. Let's zoom in down here. Okay, so you can see here is the bottom line. So I'm writing on the darker line. The capitals go up to the top here and the lowercase go to the middle. Now this is obvious for many of you, but this was news to me. I'm just going to write my name on this So I'm forced to write at the right heights. It makes it a little bit more manageable, a little bit nicer to the eye, and means that my writing is legible when I'm going back to my notes. But I also use something similar for practicing that increases the line spacing a little bit. Let's zoom back out again now. So you can see it's just a little bit broader now. It means my letters have to be even bigger, which forces me to concentrate even more on the letters that I'm writing. This is useful for some notes, but of course then you can't get so many notes on a single page, and that isn't always useful, especially when you're trying to gather your thoughts and see the relationship between ideas. I tend to find that the smaller the better for that. But the one I'm presently using more than the others, I found it online and adjusted it a little bit to match this size of screen, is called the calligraphy template. All it does is it adds an angle. Oops. Can you see that all right? Yeah, I think so. I think you can see that on the screen. So it forces me then to, or gives me at least a guide for my eye, so I know roughly what kind of angle I need to write at. It's slowing me down, right? Because muscle memory when you're writing, I'm 45 years old and I've been writing terribly all of my life. So this is quite a lot of work to try and turn it around. But these templates are invaluable. On this, my wife has been kind enough to provide a template for me because she's got beautiful handwriting. And with layers, it works quite well. So she's written on the first layer, or the main layer, and I'm writing on layer 1. And simply, I just go along here and I try and copy her letters. Well, bodging these. It's the pressure. And I go through the entire alphabet, and you know, I do lots of A's, lots of B's, and so on. And when I'm done with it, I just go to the eraser tab and clear everything on that level, and I can start again. I suppose if anybody wants the same, you're welcome to it, but she's been kind enough to give me arrows so that I know where to start with letters. And I'm never going to get used to that. X, what's that? And even the numbers, because they were a catastrophe as well. So this is just one use for templates. Of course, you can also use them for other things, and we'll come to that shortly. So, creating screensavers. Of course, you can just keep as it is, but I like to put a bit of a personal touch on. My wife, this is the thing. You don't need to worry about pixels. You don't need to worry about color. When I was first messing about with this, I thought I needed to make it exactly the same size as the screen again. 1404, 1872. I thought I needed to even use grayscale, which is just crazy. You can do whatever you like. So I've actually downloaded to choose a new screensaver. What you do, you go to the settings. Oops, I'm already there, aren't I? You go to display and input and screensaver, and then you can choose more. And since the most recent update that took place in February 2021, there are let's get the pen off. There's more flexibility in this regard, so I always put them in export. And I have got here a couple of very different images. One is large, much larger than the screen itself, and if you click on this, what you can do now is fill so that there's nothing around it. You can fit and then just confirm, and that will be your screen cover. Now, I've also added an image that's tiny. It's like a thumbnail image, this one. But if I click on this, it immediately is enlarged to fit the screen. But of course, again, you can choose to fill, and there we are. This is Carl Barth. I'm going to keep mine as it is, but the point is, you can use pretty much whatever you like. Haven't used this one before. When you wanted the window seat, but Pope Francis called dibs. Fill. Doesn't work for everything. Text is cut off. You know, if you wanted to worry about that kind of thing. But that's how to add your own screensaver. Okay, now title sections. This was a big omission from the last video. I use them in two ways. I use them in annotating PDFs, and I use them in my note making. So just to give you an idea from my notes. So this was me just doing some free thinking, really just getting some ideas down. Hopefully you can't read this because I don't want people reading this too closely. But can you see where there are these lines across? That's when I've selected a text. Let's just choose one. Oops. That's when I've lassoed something like that, and then clicked this one, which essentially, I will show you, functions as a title. So constructivism, dialectical reasoning, 2 Corinthians, analytic, future, all of those are the result of this dashed line. This is superb. So when you've got a very long notepad, a very complex one, you don't need even to type in the headings. It will simply have your own writing there, which I just find tremendously helpful. Now these ones here are the key words, if you like, which will take me to different places. So representation and relation, or objective reading. I click on these and it will take me to pages where they're found. And again, you just use the lasso. Let's do Corinthians. Lasso. And this one this time, keyword, the T, identifying keywords. Corinthians, confirm. And then that will be here, there. Also, of course, the star option, so it will take me to pages where there is a star. As it turns out, there's only one at the moment. It's not a long document, it's only 4 pages long, there at the bottom. Apparently I wanted to come back to that because that's a to-do effectively for me. This is a terrific way of organising your notebooks, gathering your thoughts, importantly showing you then thematic divisions, but also links in the document itself. So when I come back to the question of the centre of Paul's theology, or some account of the way in which analytical philosophy could be used, that will be highlighted on different pages. It's tremendously useful. Obviously the star can be used in a number of different ways, but I tend to use it sort of for a to-do, as a major highlight of some way, shape or form. So that's one use for these title sections. Another way is negotiating PDF documents. So, to a PDF document that I've been working with. This is a document that I'm reading for a dear friend of mine. I think it's this one here. There's lots of different versions, but it's a very long document. As you can see, 522 pages. And it's difficult to know where I am sometimes because I'll switch reading from this document on here to the Max Lumi, or perhaps even the Kindle, depending on where I am, what I'm doing, whether it's the evening, whether I'm lying in bed or whatever else. So I've just created section headings here. So book 2, all I did is I wrote book 2, lassoed it, it recognized my text, and now I know exactly where it is.
So this doesn't have a table of contents, you see, this particular PDF. I create my own, and on my own terms. There aren't any bookmarks in this particular document, but of course you can use them. And when I was using this document, you didn't have the option of naming your bookmarks, giving them a name. You do now, so they've updated that. So I'd use the bookmarks here more often now. And this might take a while to load because there are a lot of annotations in this particular document. It's a fab book. This is what I meant. One of the downsides is it can be a little bit slow sometimes. So here we are. I mean, there's 15 pages, so almost every page I've got notes. You can display only the stars, so again that's going to be a major highlight for me, something I'll be coming back to. There's still an awful lot of them, but even so, that's going to help me negotiate where I am, especially if my notes are very thick in one page. That will stand out. Anyway, that's title sections in the PDF document and annotating PDF documents. Some PDF documents already have some kind of table of contents, and that's fine. This is just another way of negotiating a text on your own terms. Now, using the to-do list. This was generated using Paint. See the video earlier. I extended this a little bit so I could write more in the actual time slots. I've added 1, 2 and 3 there so that the 3 most important tasks of the day are highlighted. But what I do is I will, let's change to the pen. By the way, with the pen, I always use the 0.3 and this one. But I just find the others not so neat. But I'll come to that because I will have here X, Y and Z, and let's say I have another meeting here, A, B and C, and here I'm going to have lunch, and here I'm going to play with the kids. Let's say. What I do is I'm going through the day, because this will be my primary document for the day. I then switch to the highlighter and choose this one. And when I'm done with something, I just shade it out. So it doesn't cover what's underneath, but it just shows you that that's done. And when my days are very cluttered, as they obviously for many of us can be, very cluttered, it's nice to know what you don't need to think about anymore, what's simply behind you. That's how I use the planner. The tasks are really important for going ahead a little bit. I add in here what I'm going to be doing in terms of exercise in the day, whether it's the core or upper body or whatever else. Lots of different ways of using this. I'm happy to share this template. If there's any interest in this particular template, then just let me know in the comments.
So it's typical to end these videos with some kind of outro, something I didn't do last time. So at the end I'm going to put up some inspirational quote or something like that. But until then, I hope that you enjoyed this video, found it useful. Hit the like button, why not? I don't know what that's going to do for me. Subscribe for some truly random videos that will be coming out, don't know when, but I hope to see you in the next video. And I forgot to add, remember, this isn't really a community, it's more of a YouTube channel.